Shalom, fam. How y'all doing? This is Or Ibri, author of Making Your Enemy Your Footstool, investor and consultant. So I'm coming this morning with a video. So yesterday evening, I was on Facebook and I saw a post that a few people had posted. And the post stated, I can't wait until I get to the point to where I can just randomly cash app my sibling $400. Very noble post. And so I started thinking, oftentimes when we most humans are good humans. They have good intentions. They want to do the right things. You have a few bad apples in this world, but for the most part, and I'm going to continue to reiterate this, majority of humans are good, sound, honest people who want to do the right thing. But when I came across this post, I understand the context and what they were trying to say, but there's so many people that have this mindset where they're like, once I get to this point, I want to be able to do this. And what happens is they totally negate the ability to be able to do what they can do now. So a lot of people will be like, man, I want to, let's just say, for instance, with this post, man, I want to be able to randomly cash at my sibling $400. But they don't even randomly cash up their sibling $40. So what the biggest thing is that we have to do is we have to start where we are at and build from there. So this is how the world around us works. And I talked about this in my previous video yesterday. Everything you sow, you will reap. So if you're sowing this seed of, randomly cash apping your sibling, however much you can, it could be $10, $40, $100. Eventually, what'll happen is you'll start getting doors that open up to where you'll be able to randomly cash out them that amount of money. And the thing is, a lot of us don't start where we're at. We see where we want to be at, and we kind of shut it down until we feel like we're at that level. Not everyone, but a lot of people do. And there's a quote in the Quran, a verse in the Quran that says something on the lines of, never underestimate a good gesture, even if it's a smile to a brother. Something like that. So, for instance, using that quote right there, a lot of people, they want to go out and they want to help people. They want to do these grand things. But sometimes some people just need a smile. Like, some people, they don't need you to come and be their personal ATM. Sometimes they just need you to smile at them. That's it. Sometimes that's all it takes. It doesn't always take doing grand things. Sometimes it just takes something little, something very, very, very tiny. And I'm gonna tell y'all a personal story about not operating where you're at. So, around 2010, 2011, it's around that time. I went to college in North Carolina, so I came back home from college in North Carolina. So I came back home, I was doing working and whatnot. So I had this bright, grand idea. I said, hey, I'm from Tampa. We have the Hard Rock Casino in Tampa, Florida. So I got this bright, grand idea. Hey, I need to make some extra money. Let me be a part-time professional gambler. So that was my side gig. I would go to the casino. Back then, 2010, cost of living wasn't that high. So, had a 1-bedroom apartment at the time. Rent was only $650. Car insurance was only a couple of $100. Cell phone bill like $40. So, I had one child at the time, my oldest daughter. So, I didn't have that many expenses. But I was like, okay, if I just can make a little part-time income off of this, to supplement extra income, I'll be straight. So I was like, okay, if I can just make, $500 extra a week doing that, that'll help me, be able to save money, stuff like that. So that was my goal. And I never allowed myself to get greedy. Now, there were days where I would make more than that. Or there be weeks, like for instance, every days where I go in, I'll make, $900,000. But it wasn't because I was being greedy or I couldn't walk away. I just was on a hot streak. And those of y'all who are gambling, when you're on a hot streak, you keep going until the hot streak stops and then you walk away from the table. So, some days I'll go in, okay, I just need to make, $100 a day, 5 days a week. And some days my hot streak had me going to where I'm making, $800, $900, $1,000 that day. Whatever. So that was my goal. So now I got really good at doing this. I got really good at going to the casino and not losing money. Really, 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 really good. I got so good to where people would come to me, give me money, and say, hey, can you go win me some money? And I would go and do it. Hey, I'm short on my light bill, $200. I'll go to the casino and get their $200 for their light bill. Hey, I need, groceries. Can you go get me an extra $50? I go to the casino. And I never charge people to do this. Like, I just used that gift at the time that I had in order to help those that were around me. So as I began to get better and better at this, I started, helping people more and more and more. So I remember one of my college teammates, he wanted to, was real cool. He wanted to come down and visit. And he was like, man, I ain't really got the money to come down and visit like that. I was like, bro, you straight. I got you. So I went to the casino. I was like, all right, I know you need a plane ticket. You know you need a hotel room to stay, rent a car. So I calculated everything up. So it was going to come out to be, around, for that weekend, nice hotel room, car and all of that. Almost, I think it was, I'm trying to remember at the time, it was like, I'll say $800-900, something like that. Going out money, eating money, all of that. Like I really wanted my homeboy to just really be able to enjoy himself, not have to worry about nothing. So I'll go to the casino. So let's just say the amount that I needed to make was $800. I hit, no lie, no exaggeration, I hit about $20 short. So I was going on the table, boom, I got to, let's just say $780. Got to $780, I'm like, I'm only $20 away. Then I started losing. Lost some money. Then I built it back up, literally again to $780. Came down. Went back up again to $780. Now, instead of me being smart and walking away and being like, you know what, $20 is not that big of a deal. No, what did I do? I stayed there. And eventually, I not only did not win the $800, but I lost all the money I came in there with. Me doing that, what I realized later on was, instead of operating where I was at, if I had just operated where I was at, I would have came out a winner. And the thing is, my homeboy wouldn't have known no different. Like, even if I would have went to him with the $780 as opposed to the $800, he still would have been grateful for the blessing. But because I was thinking all the way up here instead of boom, yeah, and then sometimes when you have goals, you want to hit your goals and stuff like that, but at the same time, you have to know when you're straight. So in that case, I could have just, hey, bro, I wasn't able to get 800, I got 780. Or, hey, bro, I got 700. Pretty sure he could have came up with the remaining balance, or we could have adjusted some things, but I wasn't thinking like that at that time. Young, early 20s, didn't really think like that. Second time, my sister was getting married. My oldest sister was getting married. Oldest of my siblings. I'm the oldest out of all my siblings. But my sister was getting married. And I was like, you know what? I want to give her some money for, as a wedding gift to her and her husband, my brother-in-law. So, all right, I'll get him $2,000. And I know the $2,000 would have went a long way to help kind of recoup with some of the cost of the wedding and stuff like that. So I literally get to like, $1,800. Now, I never told my sister I was going to give her this money. She never asked for the money. They didn't even need the money, but it's just the thought that I wanted to do. So I get up to like $1,700, $1,800. Same concept happens. You know, I lose, go back down. I get down to like $200, $300. Build it back up again, $1,700, $1,800. This happens about 4 or 5 times. And instead of me getting up and walking away from the table, I stayed at the table, and then I eventually lost all my money. So I not only was I up, you know, $1,800, but I went in there with a few $100s to make that, and I eventually lost that whole $1,800 plus the few $100s that I went in there with, and not having enough time to recuperate any money prior to that. I didn't have anything to give my sister for her wedding at the time. So had I just went with where I was at, I could have walked in there, handed her and her husband a check for $1,000, and they would have never known the difference. And that's the thing. We have these thoughts in our head, or we have these grand ideas in our head, and other people, they really do enjoy the gesture. Now, yes, you have some jerks out there who they're going to complain about a gift or whatever. That's not the majority of people. The majority of people are going to honestly be thankful for what it is that you give them, especially when it's something that is useful, is needed, and they weren't expecting. So I could have walked in there with a check for $500 to my sister, or you know, an envelope of $1,000, and she wouldn't have never known the difference. But I didn't start where I was at. So that's why it's very important that we want to do nice things for people, but we have to remember you have to start where you're at, because you may end up doing more damage to yourself than you were trying to if you do not. We all know the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. When we think of hell, when I think of hell, I think of a state of mind. I think of a state of life, not just, you know, some fiery pit after life. No, like you live in hell every day. And you can have good intentions, but if they aren't properly directed, then you're going to end up in a terrible situation no matter what your intentions were. So make sure that, especially when it comes to wanting to do great things or wanting to do nice things for people, you start where you are at. Do that and then build up. Build up from there. So I want to thank you all, or Ebri. If you have not purchased the book, go purchase the book, Making Your Enemy Your Footstool. It's on Amazon. Also, make sure you heal and make sure you build, and you all have a beautiful day.